Check it out. Thursdays, 10 a.m. Mountain Time, noon Eastern. A healthy dose of Jersey Girl wisdom. Live with Rev Jersey Girl. Sponsored by New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring. New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Good morning and good afternoon, depending upon where you are in the world. I am coming to you from a different background again today for a variety of reasons I'll tell you about in a couple of minutes. Welcome to Jersey Girl Wisdom. I am Rev Jersey Girl, Michelle Wadleigh, and I'm so glad that you're here with me today. I'm very excited about the subject matter today. It is something that has been on my mind, in my heart, and in my conversation for many, many, many decades. And today we're going to talk about self-love and the value of self-love and the impact of increasing your self-love. And maybe we'll even get to talk a little bit about the impact of not standing in your self-love, because both have impact. Okay, so I'm glad you're here today. You have me alone again today. Next week, I do have the beloved Pat Watson coming on. Good afternoon, Martha. And then the following week, a friend and a congregant of mine, Gary Frank, who is an author and someone who's kind of recreating his life, which works for me. Good morning, Wayne, which works within the subject that I've been trying to drive home to many recently, which is to the population for many of us where we are really not quite done with our lives, right? We're not done yet. And so there are people that my age or around that are recreating, or even somewhat younger. And so I want to celebrate those people who continue to live and breathe, in a bigger idea. But today's subject, it's called, the title for my talk today, or my presentation to you, is Raise Your Self-Love Quotient. And I want to be really clear that it means that you choose the all of you, the more of you, the not yet expressed of you. For those of you, if you're watching or you tune in later, there's a very good chance you are a metaphysician. There's a very good chance you're an adherent or practicing science of mind practitioner, whether or not you're licensed or not. And so it's very likely that you believe in the one and the unity of all life. So I want to be very clear that increasing your self-love quotient has nothing to do with being self-centered. And to the contrary, and I'm going to try to build a case that hopefully you will believe this as I say it to you. There is a part of you, the five senses of you, that is local. That's the local you. But the non-local you, the grander you, is the one where you and I are one, no matter where we are, that there's only one. Okay. And so when we learn to love the self, that self is the non-local. I'm not talking about a level of arrogance and self-centeredness and forget the term that they used to call it, when you're only thinking about yourself. I'm really talking about loving the self that was born, that was incarnated with you. And when we do that, what happens is there is an immediate impact because, I've used this term many times and I'm going to use it again. There is no private good. My good is your good. Your good is my good. And so if I lift myself up and learn to love myself more and accept myself as I am, then I make room for you to be that and to do that. And so not only is it not selfish, it to the contrary, because of believing in the oneness of all life, when we take care of ourselves, we take care of the one. So, oh, excuse me, lost my breath for a second. So all improvement, and don't harper on that word, or don't worry about the word improvement. That just means anything that you want to change or transform or elevate about yourself. Any self-improvement must begin with self-approval. It must begin with self-approval. And I'm sad to say that I work with many, 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 many people in classes and privately. And I can see that the world is filled with people that don't really love themselves that much. And so what happens is their world is kind of hard and it has a lot of hard edges. And so I'll just leave that. I'll leave that there. So if you believe that you are of the divine essence, for you to criticize yourself, I got news for you. You're criticizing the divine. You're criticizing God. You're criticizing spirit. Because if you are what it is, if it is what you are, and you are criticizing yourself and not loving yourself, you are actually driving your own wedge between you and the divine. Does that make sense? Can you see that? So when we, with self-love, so what we want to do is raise our self-love, self-acceptance, self-confidence, self-approval, and self-forgiveness. Again, this is not self-centered. This is the way that we honor the gift of life that you and I have been given. You and I have been given this breath, the beating of our heart. The fact that you are listening to me means that you are alive, right? That there's an aliveness and we get to exchange that aliveness. It's a beautiful thing. And so it is absolutely self-honoring to want to raise that sense of self within. It is the way, and it is the way that you honor the gift that you have been given. Especially any one of us that believe in just the grander scheme of life and earth and being in right relationship with all of it. Because you cannot, and here's the kicker. If you are a parent, a grandparent, if you are in relationship, if you're a teacher, a minister, a practitioner, a healer, a light worker of any kind, you probably know this, but I'm just going to drive the message home a little bit more. You cannot give from an empty well. I cannot give from an empty well. Yes, we have to honor our true nature. And even though I think most of you listening might know this already, I think sometimes we forget. There's little parts of us that we forget. Or we think there's an exception. We think there's something that doesn't quite fit in. So when you are in full practice, you realize that there are no exceptions. So how do we raise that? How do we raise the fullness of our being? So I'm going to give you a few things that you can do. Number one, this is so basic. Please hear me. I don't mean to speak down to anyone, but I know I still catch myself. Watch your mouth. You and I create by means of our word, our spoken word. It's one of the most beautiful things about being in the science of mind and spiritual mind treatment. We're so aware of that co-creativity with life itself, and we monitor our language beautifully when we're in practice. And then sometimes, every once in a while, we forget when we're not in active practice. And yet we know. I know you know. I know a part of you knows. I'm just asking you to be in full out practice. Watch your mouth. Watch what comes out, because that is the beginning of the process. It's the absolute beginning of the process. And this idea, and I'm going to take a commercial break for a moment. This idea, God bless Ernest Holmes. God bless Ernest Holmes and the science of mind, because he brought it to the world in such a beautiful way. And this radio show is dedicated to bringing it to you in that beautiful way. So please find it within your heart and your pocketbook to give to this radio station. I think, Diego, yep, there we go. ntmedia.org. Anything that you give will be greatly appreciated. Greatly appreciated. And by the way, if even while you're watching this, if you know of somebody, a family member maybe, and you've been trying to drop a gentle hint to them and you think they would benefit, please always share my program and these programs with other people. It's a great way to let someone else tell somebody you love the same message that you have been trying to tell them. And yes, please like, subscribe, and share always all these programs. So yes, commit to yourself. Matter of fact, today is May 20th. Put yourself on a fast. Start with just a fast. 30 days of watching your language so completely that let nothing come out of your mouth. Or if you do let something come out of your mouth, pay attention. Pay attention to what comes out, because something will come out sometimes that we need to hear, that we need to pay attention to, because it's a hint to something that is alive in you. Okay, you got that? Okay, number 2, count your blessings. Oh, that's as old as, that's old. Count your blessings. However, this is what I want you to do. If you're not holding yourself high enough, if you're not madly in love with yourself enough yet, every night in a journal or in some fashion on your computer, whatever you want to do, write down everything you caught yourself doing right. Everything you caught yourself doing right that night. Write it down. I don't care how silly it is. I took out the garbage. I remembered to take out the garbage. I called my aunt and wished her a happy birthday. Whatever it is, record anything that you feel good about within yourself. Do it right before you go to sleep, and then wake up in the morning and read it. This way you go to sleep in that message and you wake up to that message. Okay? This will help you to become your own best friend, because that's really what you have to do. You have to become your own best friend. Raising your self-love quotient, it's going to take all these different activities. Okay, number 3, practice good self-care. Now, I'm not going to tell you what self-care is for you. For you, that might be the way you eat and the way you exercise, and a combination. Of course, that's good. It might be choosing to create healthy boundaries. It might be meditating more. It might be increasing your work play balance so that you do have time to yourself. But you get to decide that. Your self care doesn't get to be determined by anyone else, not by anyone else. And in here, I want to say that while I'm asking you to love on yourself and to increase your self love and to increase your self acceptance, if there's something about your life that you can do something about, do it. If you can't do something about it, accept it. You get that? If you could do something about it, do it. If you can't do something about it or you're not willing to, just accept it. Just absolutely accept it. Do not let anyone or anything tell you the way you need to be. It self-love means you're trusting this. You're trusting what makes this up. Number 4, and boy do I love my prayer partners. Identify a really good prayer partner and a posse. Sometimes we're just surrounded by people who will not reflect back to us positivity. So I'm not telling you to get rid of your friends and your family, but I am saying, identify a posse of people who will love you, who will be positive with you, who will want to talk about the goodness of life and not to go off and trash those who are not in agreement. Okay? Keep the vibration high. Keep the vibration high. And don't attempt to do life alone. You might feel like a loner and an introvert, but everybody needs a little bit of love from somewhere. Okay? Mirror work. Now you might think this is silly. You might, okay? But mirror work is still a good way for you to look directly in your own eye and say, I love you. In fact, right now while you're listening to me, just say to yourself, oh, I love you. And if it doesn't feel good, question that. If it feels good, do it more often. Okay? I mean, therapists today are still using mirror work. Yes, you could do it with affirmations and such, but mainly you want to become a friend to that person in the mirror. That was number 5. Number 6, take time to practice self-forgiveness. I know I harp on this. I know I do. But we all have a bounty of things, little and large, that we need to forgive other people for and ourselves for. And I promise you, the moment you do that, you clear out the any distance between you and the perfection of you. Clear the space. Clear the space. Number 7, and this is, I have a set of foundational beliefs that I use with all my trainings and my workshops. Some of you have been with me. I've given them away. If you want them, you just email me. I'll send them to you. But number 7 is there is a place within you where you have never been hurt, harmed, or injured in any way. This is the place that incarnated with you when you were born. It is precious. It is protected. It is safe and it is untouched. So right now, while you're listening to me, do this. Close your eyes, if you will, for a moment. Close your eyes. And I can't do a long meditation, but go inside in this moment. Allow yourself to go down deep, down beneath all the different ways you identify yourself, down underneath your roles, all the roles of life, mother, father, brother, sister, whatever those roles are. Slip down underneath the role of your sexuality, whatever form that takes. Move down underneath the mistakes that you've made, the degrees that you have acquired, and keep moving down to the center of your being, where there's no story, where there's no pain, and deep at the core of your being, there is this place that exists where you have never been hurt, harmed, or injured in any way. It is truly the source of your wholeness. It incarnated with you in this lifetime. It is pure. And if you can touch that place and get to that place and kind of soak it in from time to time, you will remember how worthy you are of your divine perfection. I often just call this the God spark. That God spark exists deep at the core of your being. Remember, you and I are not what has happened to us. You and I are that essence of perfection, that divine, beautiful perfection. We are dealing with, at all times, as within, so without. So as we touch that place within us and as we grow it, what happens is the outside world begins to reflect, right? We love the self within, the world around begins to look beautiful. We grow that self within to love ourselves. The world outside reflects back to us. That's our job. As within, so without. This is why you and I raise our self-love quotient. This is the reason why. And the world will show up to be more beautiful, kinder, healthier all the time. So this is what I'd like to ask you to do right now. I'd like to ask you to begin to use this affirmation that Diego's going to put on the screen. And it is, I love and accept myself as I am and as I am not. I accept myself as I am and as I am not. And I told him to do the wrong one because what I want you to say is I love myself as I am and as I am not. And that as I am not is an important aspect of it, because there are some things you're never going to be. And the example I always use is I'm never going to be a 5'10" blonde. I'm just not. And boy, I better learn to love the body that I'm in. Even if the body doesn't look in the way that you think it should look, that I think it should look. If you're not willing to do something about it, or you're not motivated to do something about it, love it. Just love it. Please, please. This is the way we raise that self-love quotient. So I'm going to do a spiritual mind treatment for us today. And by the way, I have a document that I wrote last year that is called Raising My Self-Love Quotient. And if you would like a copy of it, you can email me as always, and I'm happy to send it to you in the form of a PDF, and you can hang it up on your refrigerator and read it and remember it, because we have to be reminded. And that's, for me, that's my job. I feel like it's my job just to be that little Jiminy Cricket in your ear saying to you, love yourself, love yourself, love yourself. Like the whispers of God. The whispers that say, accept yourself as you are, because you are stunning. You are stunning. And it's so important that you and I, that we remember that. It's so important that we remember that. I'm trying to get the glare out of my glasses. So join me, if you will, for this spiritual mind treatment. Take a breath. Open your mind, your heart, become available. And know with me right now, there's a power and a presence and a love. It is grand. It is glorious. It is grand and it is glorious. Everything about it is beautiful. It is stunning. And it lives at the heart of each of us. As I speak this word today, right now, for you, I do so not as myself, Michelle, but the I am of me. I speak this word recognizing the wholeness and the perfection of God as you. And I declare right now on behalf of for your benefit, that your self-love quotient increases tremendously, easily, and effortlessly. That anything that would block the way of this is removed. And you simply learn to love the essence of your being so beautifully and so profoundly. And that essence seeps out of you and engages others in the most stunning way. I know for you that you begin to believe in yourself. You begin to accept that good, that grace, the stunning nature of who you are. And it is glorious. Absolutely glorious. I believe in you, and I believe in your ability to accept your good and your greater good. And with my faith and conviction, I surrender this word to love, to law, and to the awe of life. And so it is. So please remember, I love and accept myself as I am and as I am not. As I am and as I am not. And if you want a copy of not that treatment, but a different one, just email me at revjerseygirl@gmail.com. I'll send you a copy of it so you can put it with all the other things that I've sent out. I love you. I do. I love you. Yes, and so it is. I believe in you. I believe in the place where God resides in you, in your beautiful perfection. Oh, there's Patricia Watson, my guest next week. Hello, Patricia. And so what I know right now is that God is good all the time. Be well, be happy, and please just be brilliant. I'll see you next week. Be well.
Faith, love, openness, willingness.
New Thought Media Network is on the rise. We're looking to grow with you. Do you have technical media experience or perhaps a desire to learn? Are you willing to volunteer your precious time and attention? We share this message to benefit all. If you possess a computer with a camera and a microphone, we will share our knowledge with you. Behind the scenes or being the star, let us bless our one. Contact us at info@ntmedia.org.